Welcome, I'm Tatiana Darzi. 31 years ago, the Tiananmen Square protests took place in China. It's commonly known as the June 4th incident, a demonstration led by students calling for democracy and a free China. This event ended in a bloodshed at the hands of the Chinese Communist Party, ending with thousands of protesters killed in Tiananmen Square. Today, we've witnessed the Chinese Communist regime's disregard for human life by covering up the COVID-19, which we aptly named the CCP virus. We've also seen the CCP's tactic of unrestricted warfare to subvert our freedom. Thankfully, the world is seeing the ruthless nature of the CCP and is now breaking away from it. CCP Tsai telecom company Huawei is its tool of espionage, subversion, and technological dominance. The British government now plans to phase out Huawei and join with 10 democratic nations to develop their own 5G networks. Prime Minister Boris Johnson had previously planned to reduce Huawei's involvement in the UK's 5G infrastructure. Now he intends to fully eliminate Huawei's involvement altogether.
The CCP virus that broke out in Wuhan, China, has spread to the entire world, causing countless deaths and suffering, with many nations having begun to feel discontent towards the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. In addition, many Chinese technology companies are under the control of the CCP, creating national security risks for foreign nations. Therefore, the British government now plans to join 10 democratic nations to develop their own 5G networks, reducing their dependence on China's Huawei.
I do think Huawei should be banned from our networks.
Does he think that he will now drive Huawei out of our future systems progressively as quickly as he can?
In mid-January this year, many British MPs repeatedly called on the government to ban Huawei from participating in 5G networks. Now, the British government is planning to establish a D10 club of 10 democratic countries to develop their own 5G networks.
We are certainly bringing forward measures to ensure that we protect our technological base.
Reports say Prime Minister Boris Johnson has issued a clear order to his team. Britain must plan to end its dependence on Huawei.
Johnson's spokesperson has confirmed that the UK hopes to reduce its dependency on Huawei in its 5G networks. The 5G club of 10 democratic partners selected by the UK include Australia, India, South Korea, in addition to traditional partners in the G7 such as the US, Canada, Japan, Germany, Italy, and France. Johnson has ordered his officials to come up with plans to reduce Huawei's involvement in the UK's infrastructure, with an aim to exclude Huawei altogether by 2023.
Now the tables have turned. The momentum is against China and by association against Huawei. The world wants to make China pay, and a short way of punishing Beijing is by blocking Huawei. If the United Kingdom bans Huawei, chances are that other countries might follow.
Actually, Johnson had originally decided to allow Huawei to participate in so-called non-sensitive parts of the UK's 5G infrastructure. But with the severe outbreak of the CCP virus and the CCP's recent push to pass its national security law in Hong Kong, the Johnson government has changed its attitude. It can be said that the government is more determined now to do what is necessary to eliminate all reliance on Huawei.
China's Premier Li Keqiang revealed at a recent press conference that roughly 600 million Chinese citizens make 1,000 yuan per month. That's around $140 per month. However, data from China's Bureau of Statistics showed Chinese citizens' average income is more than $1,400 per month. The discrepancy surprised many netizens. Recordings of this video-based press conference were later removed from Chinese social media.
Li Keqiang, Premier of the State Council of China, recently mentioned in response to a reporter that 600 million people in China have an average monthly income of only 1,000 yuan, $140.82. This figure is far from the data released by China's National Bureau of Statistics, which indicated that China's GDP per capita exceeded $10,000 for the first time in 2019. The huge gap between the numbers shocked Chinese netizens. Critics expressed that Li Keqiang was giving precautionary shots to the people, warning that they were going to have a hard life ahead. others think that he was leaving himself a way out for the future. On May 28th, the premier of the State Council of China, Li Keqiang, replied to a journalist's question that in China, the annual per capita income is 30,000 yuan, $4,224.52. But 600 million people have an average monthly income of only 1,000 yuan. It may be difficult to survive with only 1,000 yuan in a medium-sized city, not to mention the difficulties brought by the pandemic. He Junqiao, a mainland enterprise observer, expressed that the real situation was more serious than Li Keqiang said.
There are 1 billion peasants in China, with over 400 million of them working out of their own villages. If these peasants can get 3,000 yuan a month, each person could earn an average of 1,000 yuan in a family of 3. But the reality is that they are not guaranteed this amount of money every month.
He Junqiao indicated that the peasants who reside in the countryside earn even less. In 1995, the net income from growing food crops was about 300 yuan, $42.25, to 500 yuan, $70.42 per acre. However, the prices of food have gone up more than 10 times after 25 years, but the net income remained at about 500 yuan per acre.
The whole world is talking about the China miracle. Let me tell you, China's economy never created miracles. Actually, the cities were propped up using income plundered from the peasants. The average wage of an employee of a private company is about 3,000 to 4,000 yuan. There are a few categories of people in China who receive high incomes as follows. Number 1, the officials in the system whose income cannot be touched. Number 2, public servants in the system. And number 3, are the employees and managers of foreign and national businesses.
Li Keqiang also said that the total number of people who applied for monetary social benefits, unemployment benefits, or special relief is about 60 million per year, and it is estimated that it will increase this year. As a result, employment is the biggest livelihood issue. Li Keqiang also proposed to replace the 6 stabilities, which include employment, finance, foreign trade, foreign investment, and expectations proposed back in 2018, with the 6 guarantees, which include the people's employment, basic livelihood, market order, food and energy security, stability of supply chains, and operation of basic local government functions. He said that in order to raise funds to promote the 6 guarantees, Beijing will increase the deficit and issue special anti-pandemic bonds.
The purpose of the current special national debt or the increased deficit is to solve the problem of small and medium enterprises, including paying into the Social Security Fund or reducing the interest rate of loans. But the majority of small businesses will not be able to receive any help, so the government is essentially doing nothing to help these small companies.
He said that the CCP claimed to increase employment by 9 million people this year, but did not mention the increased number of unemployed.
From observing the current situation, tens of millions of unemployed people are almost a certainty. So the CCP changed its annual core targets from 6 stabilities to 6 guarantees, with a special emphasis on employment for residents. In fact, this is a kind of bottom-line thinking, the idea that we have to protect the regime.
Since the Chinese Communist Party has always reported good news and ignored bad news, Li Keqiang's words about 600 million people earning only 1,000 yuan monthly have aroused heated debates on the internet, and related video clips are circulating wildly. Nevertheless, netizens noticed that on the next day, Li Keqiang's video had been removed from government websites, including the Chinese central government's official web portal and People's Daily. Frank Tianxie, the chairman professor in business at the University of South Carolina, Aiken, indicated that Li Keqiang is a special case among Chinese Communist Party officials. He once admitted to the former U.S. ambassador that China's economic statistics were falsified, and so he did not believe them. Frank Xie believes that Li Keqiang is trying to leave himself a way out by quoting this number. In the future, when the CCP dismantles and when facing history, reality, and the people, he can at least say that he did not exactly deceive the Chinese people with the fake numbers created by the CCP, he concluded.
A video taken at the China-India border shows an altercation between Chinese and Indian soldiers. Chinese netizens were surprised and outraged when they saw the video of soldiers abandoning one of their comrades who was captured and beaten while screaming for help. The incident involved the PLA soldiers who pride themselves as brave warriors, hasn't received any news coverage inside China.
Chinese netizens and independent commentators are expressing frustration over Chinese authorities' silence on a recent incident along the disputed China-India border. A video taken near the Pangongcuo Lake region, which is part of a sovereignty dispute between China and India, shows a Chinese PLA soldier being beaten and allegedly captured by Indian soldiers during a skirmish that included both sides throwing rocks at each other. What angers Chinese netizens most is that the beaten Chinese soldier was abandoned by his cowardly comrades. In addition, no official CCP statement was issued, nor has there been any relevant coverage in Chinese state media. China and India share a border of nearly 1,242 miles, of which more than 46,332 square miles of land are subject to territorial disputes. While both China and India have, in principle, agreed to resolve the dispute peacefully, there have been signs of recent gunfights. On May 31st, a video circulated on the internet shows a convoy of PLA's Brave Warriors vehicles being attacked with sticks and stones by a group of Indian soldiers on a road near Pangongcuo Lake. During a physical skirmish, one Chinese soldier was beaten and subdued on the ground, shouting "help," but instead of helping their buddy, the others backed their truck away.
I got angry right away when I saw the video. When I saw this bunch of cowards, all they do every day is all talk and no action. All they talk about every day is how impressive their country, China, is. Every day they act like wolf warriors when they are bullying Chinese citizens, bullying Taiwan, bullying Hong Kong.
In the video, a group of PLA soldiers and Indian soldiers are shown at a distance throwing rocks at each other. The Brave Warriors' armored trucks got pelted and backed away, while the Indian soldiers took the opportunity to push forward. According to rumors online, the wounded Chinese soldier was eventually taken captive by the Indian soldiers.
How come you still get beaten up when you're driving an armored vehicle? If you were itching for a fight, why didn't you use your guns? When the CCP kills Chinese citizens, it dares to bring tanks to Tiananmen Square. You, CCP, said you would protect Chinese territory, saying how precious every inch of Chinese territory is, shouting your slogans loud and clear. But when it's time to step onto the battlefield, everyone acts like a shrinking turtle. The officers don't dare to give orders, and the soldiers don't dare to shoot their guns.
Ge Bidong, an independent China scholar, told NTD that many people who understand military affairs have been saying that the CCP's military at present is in a precarious state as it has lost confidence from within its ranks.
In such a state, if there's no command and no army squads, he, as soldier, will fall back and flee. In unfavorable circumstances, as you have seen here, it shows a lack of leadership. With no basic on-site rescue strategies, they are merely a bunch of machines on a mission.
Since May 2020, China and India have had a number of conflicts on their shared border. There was even news that the CCP has deployed an additional 5,000 soldiers to the area. China commentator Ge Bidong told NTD that the CCP authorities are acting like wolf warriors, making use of the chaos in the end times.
It, the CCP, is posturing to expand Chinese territory in the South China Sea, in Vietnam, the Philippines, and Malaysia. And the China-India border conflict is also an attempt at territorial expansion. This attitude of expansion also has to do with the CCP's recently implemented Hong Kong national security law. Ultimately, the CCP is now posing as a wolf warrior, saying, "This is how the world is. I'm a beast. What should I be afraid of? I'm a money wolf. What am I afraid of?"
A report in Hong Kong's Apple Daily quoted military affairs commentator Huang Dong as saying that the repulsed Brave Warriors multi-purpose truck belonged to the CCP's military, and that such a confrontation between China and India, in which they mobilized sea, land, and air military resources, has never been seen since the founding of the Communist Party.
Looking back at that video, when the soldier fell to the ground, a dozen trucks backed off instead of going in for a rescue, and it seemed like they were running away. This also indicates a problem, that while the CCP is demonstrating its wolf warrior-like behavior, its military is not showing mature wolf warrior-like postures. This army is afraid of war. That soldier actually didn't want to fight because this army is already terribly corrupt. So corrupt that even the soldiers don't want to fight. They just had no choice.
So far, the CCP authorities have only spoken to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, claiming that the overall situation on the China-India border is stable and under control. They have not yet issued an official statement on this particular incident.
I have been searching the internet for quite some time, but it seems that this incident has not been reported inside China. I just called and asked my friends in China. They knew about it, but they didn't comment. Now, the so-called elite in the country are also quite interesting. It would make sense for them to speak up now to urge the relevant authorities, departments, and leaders, right?
The video of a Chinese soldier being beaten over the head by Indian soldiers has caused many Chinese netizens to express their outrage, shouting shame. On Twitter, many overseas Chinese-speaking users have also tweeted comments on the incident, but the CCP state media are only keen on reporting about a black American being killed in the United States, and are silent about Chinese soldiers being beaten. A netizen commented, "We Chinese don't care at all about soldiers. We only care about black Americans. So when our soldiers get beat up, we should just ignore it."
The Brazilian federal representative Paulo Eduardo Martins posted on Twitter a letter sent by the Chinese embassy in Brazil, instructing him not to congratulate Taiwan's president Tsai on her inauguration. He decided not to take orders from the CCP and sent a congratulatory greeting to President Tsai on her inauguration.
A letter sent by the Chinese Communist Embassy in Brazil demanding Brazilian legislators not congratulate Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen on her re-election was posted on Twitter, causing dissatisfaction among the Brazilians who congratulated President Tsai on Twitter and even echoed the slogan, "Viva Taiwan." President Tsai was sworn in for re-election on May 20th, 2020. And Brazilian federal representative Paulo Eduardo Martins posted on Twitter on May 25th a letter he received from the Chinese embassy in Brazil, instructing him to remain silent on the inauguration of President Tsai's second presidential term. The letter was dated on May 13th. Paulo Eduardo Martins said, "In this letter, the authoritarian CCP embassy advised Brazilian parliamentarians not to speak about the inauguration of the President of Taiwan. This is an offense. So even if I am late, I would like to congratulate President Tsai Ing-wen on her inauguration."
The CCP's wolf diplomacy has escalated, and it has portrayed itself as a leader of other countries in some states of Europe and of the United States. Now it has arrived in Brazil with many ways to interfere with the internal affairs of Brazil. These ways include demands, issuing official documents, and using the red header in documents to order parliament members in Brazil, and also asking the Brazilian government to manage members of parliament so that they cannot say anything or make any positive comments on Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen.
Paulo Eduardo Martins' Twitter post resonated with many Brazilian netizens. They congratulated President Tsai Ing-wen on Twitter for her inauguration, and even added the hashtag Viva Taiwan slogan, which became the #1 search term on Brazilian Twitter.
The CCP misjudged the situation and used such a method that resulted in a collective rebound from the Brazilian people. Brazil has a large population, and in the middle of this difficult time caused by the severe pandemic in Brazil, the CCP still used strong-arm diplomacy and this red-header document to order Brazil. It is without a doubt that the Brazilian people exploded in silence because they did not want to perish in silence, and they are using this anger to say, "Long live Taiwan." They want to fiercely praise the democratic system to slap the CCP in the face.
On May 26th, President Tsai Ing-wen thanked Brazilian netizens via Twitter and wished them safety and health. She said, "Thank you to all our friends in hashtag Brazil for your kind congratulations. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy. Hashtag Viva Taiwan, hashtag Viva Brazil."
Of course, the meaning behind Long Live Taiwan is long live freedom and long live democracy. The international community, including these government officials and citizens, is furious at the CCP's cover-up of the virus. These legislators of Brazil are elected by its people, and the CCP has nothing to do with this. It is simply stupidity that the Chinese Communist Party is telling them what to do and what not to do.
Lan Shu indicated that holding the CCP accountable in supporting Taiwan has become a domino effect on the global scale.
Taiwan has a very clear understanding of the Chinese Communist Party, a political party that lies and governs the country violently, because Taiwan lives under the shadow of the CCP's bullying, and the entire Taiwanese society faces this problem every day. One of the most important issues during the presidential election was the relationship between the two countries. It is precisely because of this that Taiwanese society has a clearer understanding of the CCP than other countries in the world.
Brazil's People's Daily News Network published a commentary article written by political and economic columnist Rodrigo Constantino on the 26th of May. The article accused the CCP of taking an aggressive position that has been condemned in various countries around the world. And because of the pandemic, Australia, the United Kingdom, Japan, and the United States have all made remarks against the CCP's abuse of power. Rodrigo Constantino said that the world is now facing a new Cold War, but the main enemy of freedom is not the Soviet Union, but the CCP. He believes that, like the first Cold War, there must be a clear code of ethics and basic moral values, and threats from dictatorships that ignore human rights should not be ignored.
After the Chinese CDC tested 6.68 million people for the CCP virus in Wuhan, 206 patients were discovered to be asymptomatic, according to their claim. However, none of the residents in Wuhan were informed of their individual test results.
Wuhan had conducted 6.68 million nucleic acid tests and discovered 206 asymptomatic cases as of May 23rd. This was done after the Chinese CDC announced mandatory mass testing on May 11th. Residents are concerned about cross-contamination because the testing was not done carefully. They also said that test tubes were not properly labeled and the results are not made available to the public. It was said that the CDC initiative was aimed at preventing a resurgence of new infections. Wuhan City, where the CCP virus first emerged late last year, is home to about 11 million people. During an interview, Wuhan residents said the test results were not available. A resident said that the authorities are not making the test results available to the public and say it is illegal.
It was said that there were more than 1,400 people tested in Wuhan Iron and Steel Corporation. More than 300 of them tested positive. Was it true?
I don't know. None of the information has been made available. It's not timely nor transparent. There was a sample survey test of 11,000 people in April. That result was not known, but a Weibo chat group said that 5% tested positive. None of these are transparent, including the charges, the decisions, the result of the tests, both from last month and this ongoing testing of the entire city. Only the officials have the data. We know nothing about it. They won't make the results public. In fact, it's illegal. According to the State Council regulation, major news should be made public immediately, including major government information and public events.
Will they announce the result of the test on Wuhan residents?
In fact, before the test, I was told we'll get the result in 3 days. But on the third day, an urgent notice was issued saying that no result will be available because there are too many people. We will get notified only if we test positive. But this morning, we were notified again that the test result will be given.
The interview was conducted on May 21st to 22nd by Yi Ru of the Chinese language Epoch Times.
The Chinese Communist Party's cover-up led to a pandemic that now threatens the lives of people around the globe. With over 6.4 million people infected, China is still defensive about independent international inquiry into the origin and spread of the CCP virus. The Epoch Times has initiated a global Sign the Petition campaign calling for investigating, condemning, and rejecting the CCP. We believe that investigating and exposing the truth is the only way that we can remain safe. Let's take action. Sign the petition at rejectccp.com. That's all for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this program with friends and family to keep them informed about the latest news and updates. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.